Good morning, Sangmitra. How are you?
Hi Rakesh, good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good too. Thank you. So, can you tell us something about yourself?
Yeah, sure, Rakesh. So I'm Sanghamitra. I have overall 6.5 years of experience in IT and the entire 6.5 years into testing. I started off with manual, then slowly moved towards automation. So in terms of automation, I worked with page object model architecture design, integrated with TestNG. I also did a bit of database related testing, and I have a bit of experience in AWS as well when the on-premise application was, re-engineered to cloud. Currently, I work with BDD, Cucumber with Page Object Model and TestNG integrated in a Salesforce platform, Salesforce CPQ platform. Yeah, that's pretty much Rakesh.
Mhm. So, what are the different challenges that you have faced in automation?
I'll tell you the recent, maybe one of the challenges I faced. So in Salesforce CPQ, in the testing platform, what happens is, it has to go through a sequence of steps. There are like 10. To reach to the 99th step, you have to, execute 98 steps. So what used to happen is, if there was a failure in the 99th step and I need to fix something, I had to again execute all those steps again to reach the final step. So I saw there is a Chrome options, which came up. So wherein, you can have the session open and you can execute the 99th step in the same session. So I think that if we can implement something like that, which I did, can save a lot of time, wherein if you have 10 steps, you don't have to execute all 10. Maybe, you can just execute the ninth step where the failure is. So that's one challenge which I very recently faced, and that's how I overcame.
Okay, now can you tell us something about your automation framework? What is the project structure over there? How do you give the test output reports, or how do you trigger the automation?
Yeah, sure. So it's a BDD framework, Cucumber integrated with TestNG. To trigger, there is Jenkins job which runs in the CI/CD pipeline. And I forgot, I kind of missed the other question. Oh, that reporting part, right?
Reporting.
Yeah. So for reporting, yeah, we use extend reports. And also Cucumber with extend report, because I believe extend report because the output is very convenient, and the product owners can relate to that because it's in the form of pie charts in diagrams. And I think configuration wise it is simple. The Java class is standard. We can pick it from Stack Overflow, and just the configuration has to be done in the pom.xml and the runner class. So that's the reason we picked extend report.
Okay, great. So, what is Jenkins? Do you create the pipelines in Jenkins, or is it done by the DevOps team?
Yeah, so our job is pretty much pushing the code to the Git, and any merge conflicts to resolve those. And then there's a DevOps team who kind of runs it in Jenkins.
Mhm.
So our duty, like we have 10 teams, so we have our own respective branches, and we just push the code to Git.
Okay. How do you resolve conflict management? Let's say if you were committing something, or one of your team member is also committed. Now you are getting merge conflict in Git. So what will you do?
Yeah, so that merge conflict generally, happens for generic classes, like generic class, wherein, we are writing some common methods like send keys or, get text method, wherein my teammate is also trying to modify something in the method and I'm also trying to modify. So in cases like that, what I generally do is, I do a fresh pull from the master. And I don't think there is a way where it automatically resolves the merge conflict. I normally, coordinate with my teammate to see what changes they have made,
Hmm.
pull in the fresh code, and then, try to push it to the repo.
Okay. Now consider there is a string. Like the string is this is a mock interview. Now
Mhm.
how will you reverse this particular string? How will you reverse the entire statement? Can you tell the Java program the high level logic what you will do?
All right. So if I have a string called Selenium and I want to reverse that
Mhm.
particular string, right?
Mhm.
Uh, okay. So if my S string str is Selenium, I'll create a reverse variable, string reverse, which will be initially empty.
Mhm.
Uh, okay. Then, I guess if I have to reverse, I will create a decremental for loop.
Mm-hmm.
So for int I equal to string dot length, I'll get the length. I greater than equal to 0, I'll do a I minus minus. So it will pick m first.
Mm-hmm.
Then my reverse variable which I created. So I'll do reverse equal to I'll use character at. So I'll do reverse equal to character at I, which will give m, and I'll keep adding it to the reverse. So reverse equal to reverse plus character at I.
Mm-hmm.
So m, and then it will add the next alphabet, and it will keep adding to the reverse variable. So finally I'll print reverse.
Okay. Now let's say there is a test scenario. You are hosting a game in one of your server. All the users are connected to that game. Now there is one particular user which tries to connect to that multiplayer game. He gets some error message. Okay. How will you troubleshoot this scenario?
I'll just tell you if I got the question right. Only
You
that
want me
user
to
is
repeat the
facing
question?
the
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's say you are hosting a game, one of the game in your server. It's any game,
Hmm.
and there are many users connected to that game. All of your users are able to connect to that game, but there is one of the user who, when tries to connect to that multiplayer game, he gets an error message. He's not able to connect. So how will you troubleshoot this scenario? How will you try to find out root cause analysis?
All right. So if the issue is with just one user,
Mhm.
I would first try to see what kind of error message he or she is getting. If there's a integration with an API, probably we'll get an error code, right? So maybe I'll try to first see what sort of error he's getting. Post which I'll try to do the same. Maybe a POC in my environment. If it's a production environment, maybe I'll do a POC in the UAT environment because that's immediate to production and that has the full copy sandbox of prod, and try to see if I'm able to replicate the issue. If yes, it's good. If not, maybe I'll have to do a further analysis of checking in, if there is an issue while he is connecting to the server. Maybe browser issues, or that's the thing that comes to my mind right now.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
so
that's
if there
fine.
is anything else,
Yeah,
yeah.
so see, browser issue can be one of the thing. Let's say if he is trying to connect from Google Chrome or some specific version, so that can be a compatibility issue. Or if it's a particular mobile game, then what kind of
Hmm.
device is he trying to log in? Is he trying to join from iOS or maybe Android or some emulator he is
Hmm.
using that is not compatible again, right? So those
Hmm.
things can be over here. Then one of the scenario
Okay.
can also be the limit of the users. Let's say your
Hmm.
application, this particular game, was supposed to handle, for example, 4,000 users at a time. And
Hmm.
somehow there is a issue with the database string or the SQL query that has been used, and it is able to support only few of the users. And the moment someone is trying to join, he's not able to join. No, some kind of, so
Okay.
this thing you can correlate with a Zoom application. Let's say we have a Zoom app and we have a
Hmm.
limit of 1,000 users. So if all of a sudden, let's say if the meeting has started and there is a room for 1,500 users, participants are there. So everyone will try to join, but not everyone will have a same network latency. Now, the moment 999th user or 1,000th user comes out, so 1,001 user would be able to join, right? So this kind of things can happen with this application. But yeah, I think you covered the rest of the things. So that was good. Okay. Now let's do a modification in this scenario. Okay, now this is
Okay.
a particular game. Okay, you have given
Hmm.
access to few of the people, only some
Okay.
set of people that should be able to access. Let's say if someone has to play a cricket, those 10 should be allowed. If someone has to play hockey, those 10 should be allowed. Now there is a day in which while testing you came to know that everyone, each of the user, whether irrespective of any of the game, they are able to join any other games as well.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
so there is a day when people are able to access your application irrespective of the game. So how will you
Hmm.
do a troubleshooting for this scenario?
Okay. So if it should be condition based, and irrespective of it being condition based, everybody is able to access. Maybe first thing I'll do is try to look at the permission set, because when we say like cricket is accessible to a particular set of people, I'm sure we have given a permission set in the backend.
Mhm.
So I'll try to see if the permission set is applicable correctly to that set of users, or it is, we have given the permission set to everybody. That's the first thing. Then maybe there might be field level security, or wherein we are hiding fields for other set of users. I'll see that field level security is actually applicable, or there is something where in the production environment that security is not working.
Mhm.
So these are the two things maybe I'll check as to why it's exposed to
Right.
others.
So authentication and authorization, again, both the things play a major role over here. Then it might would have happened that first is the security permissions that you were telling, that the roles and permissions, those are being open for all in the front end of the GUI of the application itself. So it's an mistake done by the administrator. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's a mistake done by the administrator itself. Now, second thing is, let's say some code fix was done, and irrespective of the admin permissions, they gave super admin permissions to everyone. So that can be one of the issue as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what is man in the middle attack? Have you done security testing, or have you ever
Um,
come across this thing, man in the middle attack, MMA?
no, I've not done security testing.
Mhm. No
But
issues.
yeah.
Issues. You can give a try. I think based on the knowledge that you have, uh, what can be it? Anything that you can think about.
What was the term?
Man in the middle attack, MMA.
Man in the middle attack. Okay. Um, could could be something to do with integration of two systems, wherein we are trying to share passwords or something encrypted, and there is a third party coming in and trying to attack that integration and trying to take data out of it. That's a guess, but I'm
Mhm.
really not sure.
Okay, no issues. So let's say when you are trying to log in, so we have a request in which we will supply the parameters and we have a response with it. Okay, now the moment when you try to request it with a valid parameters first, so you will get a valid response. But sometime, this hackers, what they will do, they'll use your parameters, the valid parameters, and they will change it to invalid ones, or they'll try to manipulate with the request, and they will break the request, they will change the parameters. Let's say if login request is there, so username and password parameter can be changed, and then you can see what is the response. So the response should not be an exception over there. It should give you a user friendly message, even if something is happening behind the scenes. So still the application should be stable enough to give you user-friendly messages. The server-side issues should not come over here. Yeah. So
Okay.
this can be done using Fiddler, Bubsuit. These are the various security testing tools that can be used over
Okay.
here. Now, what is the use of bean shell processor in JMeter?
Uh, Bean shell process in JMeter.
Mhm.
Um, I think JMeter I've done, the UI part with Blaze Meter. So I'm not aware of the term. If you can help me out.
No issues. So bean shell is nothing but a post processor. So we have got two types of
Oh,
processors in JMeter, right? One is pre-processor, another is post processor. So this is a kind of post processor that will be executed after the sampler, and it is generally used for the recovery, or you can say cleanup. You know? So over there, bean shell post processor will be used. So
okay.
this is there. Now, okay. Can you explain about the implementation of OOPS concepts? How you have implemented, let's say, inheritance, abstraction, polymorphism in your automation framework?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, so most of the OOPS concepts have been used in the framework I work with.
Mhm.
So to start with, I would say inheritance is where we use, so when we have a test based class which kind of calls the browser, instantiates the web driver, and calling the property file, everything is written in the test base class. So when I create my page classes or test classes, I use the extends keyword and call that particular class. So that's where inheritance come into picture. In terms of polymorphism, so there's runtime and compile time polymorphism. So method overloading I have used, wherein I was calling a data from Excel. So it was same method name, but the parameters were different. Once I was trying to call it with name and ID. The other one I was trying to call with name and last name. So that's what overloading is. In the same class there's the same method but passing different parameters. So that's where I've used polymorphism. In terms of encapsulation, as per my understanding, when I use page object model design pattern, I have my object repositories at the top, and I use page factory.init elements to instantiate the driver. So all these web elements are kind of encapsulated and available in the page class. So that's where encapsulation comes into picture. Constructors I have used, for example, all the property file, calling the property file, everything is written in the constructor of the test base class. And when I use the super keyword and call that constructor, that's when all these property file loading, everything can be called in the page classes. So that's where constructor comes. Apart from that, I have used set concepts, hash map concepts, whenever I have to store data, I use lists concepts. So those are few of the OOPS concepts I've used in my framework.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, now let me share my screen.
Okay.
Yeah, is my screen visible?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, now you have this HTML page. Okay, there is a field of origin, and there are multiple languages over here.
Okay.
Now, how will you automate this scenario? Let's say I have to capture each and every value one by one using Selenium automation. How will you automate this thing?
Okay. Since it's a drop down, I would go for select class. So select, I'll create a reference variable select equal to new select, pass the driver. So if I have to validate all countries have been populated correctly or not, I will, so there's a method which is, I think, get select dot get all values or something, not able to recall, but there's a method which will fetch all these values from the list and it will return a list. Really not able to recall the method. I think it's get all values. So that will return a list of values. So that list I'll compare against my expected list. So these values, again, I'll store it in my own list. I'll create a list of expected and I'll compare whether the list which is coming from the select classes method is matching with my expected or not.
Okay. Now, if you see this behavior, the very first row is empty and it starts from second. So any other condition that you will be implementing in your code?
Okay. Maybe I'll just give a guess. I'm not sure because I didn't face this, but I can take a guess if you want.
Yeah, no issues, no issues. Please go ahead. This is a mock interview. See, even if you don't know the answers of the questions, but you make a guess. And in a real-time interview also, you should always make a try. You can tell to the interviewer that, hey, I'm not sure about this question, but let me try. So he'll be, appreciating that effort.
All right. So I would do a dot size. Maybe I'll store all these elements and get the size of these elements. And maybe I can do a -1 to get the actual count. But I'm really not sure if that's the right way.
No issues, but you will have to inspect element and check first of all, which is that particular row in where it is coming. You can keep an if condition over there, and then you can take your automation further. Okay, but I think rest was good. So many values on there. Okay, and last is we don't have any other row, so we just have to take care of this first particular thing. Okay. Now let's consider one more scenario. You are trying to automate a web application and you have 3 buttons. Okay, in that you have to click on the third button, but the classes of all the 3 buttons is same. So how will you automate? What will be your approach for this scenario?
Okay. I have to click the third button, right? The
Third button
last
is
one.
there. Yeah, the last one, three buttons are there. You have to click on the third button. The classes of all the buttons are same. And so what will be your approach?
Okay. So as you said, the classes are same, so I cannot definitely take class as an XPath.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the approach I can think of right now is all these three buttons will be present inside a parent tag. So maybe I will try to use the parent, XPath, the relational XPath. So wherein I'll get the parent of it, and to come to the third, if it has an ID or any other, parameter which differentiates all the three classes, I'll try to use that. Otherwise, I'll fetch the parent. It'll give me three, and then I'll get the third element.
Okay.
That's what I can think of.
Yeah, that's a good approach. Now coming to, I'll modify this scenario. Let's say you are adding some tag, or you are telling you will take some attribute, maybe name or ID or something, if it's a tag or something. So you will be putting over there, in a bracket, you will be mentioning one, two, or three, and you will be clicking on the
Hmm.
third one. But there are some
Hmm.
web applications when you put one over there in the square bracket.
Hmm.
So it is pointing to three buttons at the same time. So
Okay.
yeah, now what you will do?
Mm, in case that happens,
Mhm.
maybe I'll try to get the following sibling XPath and see if that works. I would definitely go for the XPath approach only because I'm a fan of XPath. So maybe I'll try to use a following sibling, wherein the third will have another relation with its, or maybe following.
Following sibling
This
should be
case.
used over here. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Now, right. Now you have a string that is December. Okay. Now,
Okay.
out of this string, I want you to, tell me the Java program logic. How will you find the
Hmm.
second most frequent character in the string? Second most, not the first most, for the second.
Second most frequent character. Okay. So string December, first I have to change it to a character array
Mhm.
because I want each and every character. So that will return me a character array. Then I guess I'll store it in a hash map because I want these characters and the integers. So map character integer, map count equal to new hash map.
Mhm.
I'll start iterating character array. So I'll write a advanced for loop maybe for character ch colon the array name whatever I gave. Um, I'll start putting the values in the map first. So I'll write a condition if map dot contain key, that particular character ch, then map dot put that word, and increase the count by one. So map dot put word, and then word dot get word plus one, else map dot put the word and put a value one. So that's how it got stored in the map. Now to iterate, maybe I'll use an entry set. So entry set will return a set of entries which will be character and integer type. Then I can put a condition, uh, I mean again a for loop, wherein if I do that set dot get key and because it's an entry set, so it will give me key and value. Uh, so second most, right?
Second
S-
most character. Mhm.
so okay, so I'll put a if condition
Mhm.
in my entry set variable, wherein I'll see dot get key is not able to think of the approach, but I definitely know there will be a condition which
Conditions.
will help me. Yeah.
Now, no issues. Now, the trickiest part of this question was, in the string December, E is occurring thrice in that string. The rest of all the characters are occurring once only. So the second most frequent character will be the rest of all your characters. Okay. So what you can do is you can exclude E, you can write that kind of condition, and you can take all the characters. So it depends on string to string, right? Let's say tomorrow if
Mm,
someone gives you a string as banana, So in banana, N
Hmm.
is coming twice, A is coming thrice. Okay. So in that
Hmm.
what
Correct.
approach that you were telling, so N will directly come out. But for this thing, the second most character are all the characters that are left out in the string
Okay.
itself, right?
Hmm.
So so that is there.
Okay. Specific condition would help, is what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, then Sangmitra, we are done with the interview. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, Rakesh. First of all, like, thank you very much. You have been helping the QA community a lot. I mean, I go through all your videos and it's really so helpful. You actually ask questions from the industry. I've commented also a lot of times.
Okay,
So thanks for that. And
thank
I would
you.
like to know, a feedback. So a feedback coming from you would be really great for me,
Mhm.
where I need to improve.